Hi everyone and welcome back to the Daredevil Python machine learning library series. And in this video, we're going to discuss about the MongoDB in Python. MongoDB is nothing but a NoSQL databases. And in this tutorial, we're going to see that how can you connect the MongoDB with Python. So without wasting any time, har har mahadabal ke start karte tutorial. Let's see how can we install the MongoDB community server in our local machines. So for that, what I need to do, I need to just select here the select package, and you can see the version and the platform. If you are using Windows, you can select the Windows here, and if you are using Linux or the Debian or the Mac OS, you can select the operating system based on your requirement and simply click here to download this, right? Simple. Okay, simple. Then when you're installing this MongoDB community server, then you can see one GUI inside your search bar. So after downloading and also installing the MongoDB community server, you can get here one GUI that's called the MongoDB Compass. So if I go on here and type here the MongoDB Compass, and it will opening the GUI. And this is the GUI and this is our URL, right? This is our URL for the local host. If I click here to connect, and you can see here we have the databases, and you can see these are our databases, and you can see by default it have three databases, that mean the config and also having the local, and this is nothing but my local port. Now we're going to see that how can we connect this MongoDB in Python. Okay, so right now you can see I'm in my VS Code. You can also use the Jupyter Notebook or PyCharm itself. So first thing first, we're going to installing this library that is required to connect the MongoDB and the Python. So for that, what I can do, we can simply opening our command prompt. If you are using the Linux or the Mac, you can simply using your terminal, right? So now I'm going to type here the command. It's called the Python or pip install. Let's call the pymongo, like that. Okay. You need to installing this library on your system. You can also create here one virtual environment, or you can do that otherwise, right? In by default. So it's already installed in my system. So what I can do, I am not going to installing it. Simply going to click here to close it. Okay, first thing first, I'm going to import here the pymongo. So let's say I'm going to import here the pymongo, import pymongo. Okay, pymongo. Then what I can do, we can simply creating here one Mongo client so that we can access the URL that we copied earlier, right? What kind of URL? Let's see, pymongo. Okay, not property actually, pymongo dot mongo client. Okay, that's called the Mongo client. In order to getting the client, and inside that you need to give here your host with the port number. So you need to give here this link that we copied earlier in our database. I mean the GUI. That's called the MongoDB Compass. MongoDB, the local host 27017. You can also do like that. Even you can also give here the local host port number. Let's say 127 and 0 comma 0 0 dot and 1. You can also do this thing as like that, like MongoDB localhost are also 127.0.0.1 and colon, and you can give here your port number. This is my port number, this is my host. So host is nothing but my local host, I mean local server. So this is nothing but my MongoDB client, right? MongoDB client. So when you're trying to access your database, you need to create here one client, simple client, right? Then what I can do, we can simply creating here on databases. In our databases, if I see, you can see here, you can see this is it's nothing but a database name and also one collection name. So let's you need to give here one database name. So for that, what you can do, we can simply using here the client that you actually created earlier. Then inside that you can give here one name. So let's give here the first node called student, and I'm going to store it inside my variable. Let's go my db or my database, right? Then what I can do, after creating one database, we need to give here one collection name, or you can say the information name. So what I can do, let's say we say the collection, we give here one collections. So what kind of collection you're going to do? Let's say my let's say db dot you can give here one collection name. So let's say give here the student collection, like a student collection, like that, like that. If I go on here, let's say go on my here, if I go inside this admin, okay, if I click it to refresh, okay, it's not refreshing. Okay, so let's go on here, the config, it don't have anything else. Okay, we need to create here on collections. So let's go on here. So okay, or you can also say that collection or the informations. Now the question is, you can also pass this informations inside your database. Inside your database, you can do the code operation, insert, delete, update, all of this thing you can do that. So for that, you can insert in a one collections, you can also insert multiple collections. So for that, what I can do, you can simply say that let's say collections dot, let's say it having a method, it's called the insert. You can see insert one and insert many. If I use here the insert, I need to give here my collections, I need to give here my collections, right? So I need to give here my collections. So what kind of collections? And you can see document any and session any. You can see here the format. You can see you need to pass here just like a just like a dictionary in Python, right? So now let's create here some records. So let's say record. This is the basics. That's the basics of the MongoDB, right? So what I can do, you can simply passing here as the dictionary. So how the dictionary look like? So it having one key and the value. So key and the value. So let's say key, if a student have the name, and let's say Mishu. Then let's say a student have their ID. Let's say ID. Let's say my ID, and the ID should be, let's say 190101106. Okay. Or a student have the department, so let's say it having the department. Okay, a student have the department, let's say give here the department, let's say CSE, computer science and engineering. Simple. Now I'm going to passing here my records inside my insert one here. Okay, just save it. You can go here and run on the terminal, new terminal, you can create that. Otherwise you can also run it from here. Let's run it from here now. So let's say Python. Okay, Python, and to give here my name tutorial01.py, like this one, tutorial01.py. Now you can see it running the file, right? Running the file, and you can see you don't have any error. If I go on here my database, if I refresh it, and you can see here and student, one student is created. If I go on here, and you can see here one student collections, one student collection. If I go again the student collection, and you can see here the data that I push from our Python script, If I go here again, and let's say if I trying to change it, let's say right now Chando, and if I trying to save it and again run on here, and you can see here it is running this script, the Python script, and when the data is pushed, and you can see here, if I actually refresh it, let's say I am going to, you can also export the data from here. If I go here the database again, if I go on the student, if I go on the student collections, and here is the refresh button. Okay, let's remove it all, config. Okay, let's go again. Okay, I need to refresh it, refresh button kaha gaya? Yeah, refresh. Okay, non undefined. Let's go on here and see the student collections, and you can see here Chandu also, right? It's also push. Now let's see how can you also insert the many. I mean, in the same document, we are going to put here, let's say two collections. Is in just one run. Okay, let's go on here, and then what I can do, we need to using here another method that's called the insert many. So let's say many. So I'm trying to go into make it comment down. If I go inside the insert many, you can see here I need to put it inside 1/3 bracket. So now what I can do, I am simply going to wrap it inside 1/3 bracket. Okay, third bracket. So this is my one collections, and let's say I'm going to copy this out, and I'm going to paste it here. Let's say paste it. Let's say I'm trying to make it now Chandudhar, and let's make it Mishudhar. Let's say make it full name Mishudhar Chandu, like this one. Okay, so all are same. So let's say I'm going to save it now, and if I trying to click here, okay, just click here to run this run this file, and you can see it will running the Python script. If I go on here again, and let's close it now, and if I refresh it, okay, refresh ho gaya, student पे जाओ, collection का check करो, and you can see here all the data are pushed, right? Chandudar, the Mishudar, Chandu, all of them, right? So this is how you can actually you can port the data from your Python script. You can also export the data. You can see export data, export query result, or export the full connection. You can do that, right? You can also click it to find all of them, all of them. You can see aggregation schema. Okay, don't worry, we'll actually discussing all the things in the details in the next tutorial, right? So that's it for today. Now, hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and make sure to subscribe to the channels, and don't forget to hit the bell icon, and I'll be back with another tutorial. So here discussing about so many things about the MongoDB. This is just starting, right? Starting, but support please. Okay, so bye bye.